Have you ever wondered why silence can sometimes feel so loud? Or why in a world full of noise we are drawn to moments of quiet? What if I told you that within silence lies the power to transform your life in ways you've never imagined? This is the story of a restless young man who sought the Buddha's wisdom and learned the profound secret to silence, a lesson that reshaped his entire existence. Let us take a journey into this tale, where wisdom meets emotion and silence becomes the loudest teacher. Long ago, in a small village surrounded by emerald mountains and whispering streams, there lived a young man named Arjun. He was ambitious, quick-witted, and determined to make a name for himself. But despite his talents and the admiration of his peers, Arjun felt an unshakable restlessness. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, his heart burdened by the weight of unfulfilled desires. "Why do I feel so incomplete?" he would often wonder. "I have everything, yet I feel as though something essential is missing." One evening, as the golden sun dipped behind the hills, casting an ethereal glow on the village, Arjun overheard a group of travelers speaking about the Buddha. "They say he has answers to the deepest questions of life," one traveler remarked. "He understands the nature of suffering and joy," said another. Arjun's curiosity was piqued. "Perhaps the Buddha holds the key to the peace I seek," he thought. And so, with little more than a walking stick and his restless heart, Arjun set off on a journey to find the Enlightened One. After days of travel, Arjun arrived at a serene monastery nestled amidst lush forests. Monks in saffron robes moved with calm purpose, their footsteps barely disturbing the ground. In the heart of this sanctuary sat the Buddha under a great Bodhi tree, his presence as still and profound as the mountain itself. Gathering his courage, Arjun approached the Buddha and bowed deeply. "Great teacher," he said, "my mind is a storm and my heart a tumultuous sea. I seek your wisdom to find peace. What must I do?" The Buddha looked at Arjun with gentle eyes, his voice soft yet resonant. "Before I answer, tell me this. What is it you truly seek?" Arjun hesitated. I want to be free from this restlessness, this noise within me. I want to feel whole." The Buddha nodded. "Then stay here for a while. Observe, listen, and practice silence. Only in silence will you find what you seek." At first, Arjun was eager. He joined the monks in their daily routines, which included long periods of meditation and silence. But the silence was anything but peaceful. Alone with his thoughts, Arjun felt as though the noise in his mind grew louder. Memories, regrets, fears, and desires surged like waves crashing against a fragile shore. "This is unbearable," he confessed to a monk one evening. "The silence is deafening and my thoughts are relentless. How does one endure this?" The monk smiled knowingly. "The silence does not create the noise, it reveals it. Stay with it, and you will understand." Arjun was unconvinced, but decided to persevere. Days turned into weeks. Slowly he began to notice moments of stillness between the stormy thoughts. These moments were fleeting but profound, like glimpses of sunlight through storm clouds. One day the Buddha called Arjun to his side. Leading him to a tranquil pond, the Buddha said, "Look into the water. What do you see?" Arjun peered into the pond. "I see my reflection, but the surface is disturbed by ripples." The Buddha picked up a stick and stirred the water, creating more ripples. "And now?" "I see nothing clearly," Arjun replied. The Buddha smiled and set the stick aside. "Now, wait." As they stood in silence, the ripples gradually subsided, and the water became still. "Now look again," the Buddha instructed. Arjun leaned over the pond and gasped. "I see myself clearly." The Buddha placed a hand on his shoulder. "The mind is like this pond. When agitated, it distorts reality, making it impossible to see clearly. But in stillness, the truth reveals itself. Silence is not the absence of noise, it is the stillness that allows clarity to emerge." That night, Arjun sat under the stars, reflecting on the Buddha's words. For the first time, he did not resist the silence. He allowed his thoughts to come and go without clinging to them. Slowly, he began to feel a profound peace, as if he were no longer fighting the currents of his mind but flowing with them. The next morning, Arjun approached the Buddha with tears in his eyes. "Great teacher, I understand now. Silence is not an escape from noise, but a space where I can meet myself. It is in this stillness that I find my true nature." The Buddha smiled. "Remember this, Arjun. Silence is the bridge between the noise of the world and the wisdom of the soul. In embracing it, you will discover that the answers you seek have always been within you. When Arjun returned to his village, he was a changed man. The restlessness that had once consumed him was replaced by a quiet confidence. He no longer sought validation in the noise of the world, but found fulfillment in the stillness within. His presence became a source of calm for others, and his story inspired many to seek their own path to inner peace. Whenever asked about his transformation, Arjun would smile and say, "The secret to silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of understanding. In silence I found myself,